All right. Good morning, internet, social media world. I love the background chatter that we're getting from Jen and Jennifer this morning. Now we are recording, so we'll have some good outtake fodder there. So all of you watching, welcome to another episode of How I Met Your Mortgage. Adam Smith with the Just the Tips Coaching. And as always is our marketing director, Jen Waymar. Good morning, Jen.
Good morning.
And our guest this week is Jennifer Crosby. Good morning, Jennifer.
Good morning.
And Jennifer, memory serves, you're not actually local to us. You're in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So, as always, and Chanel, Lindsay, Brian, Jenna, Kim, good morning to all of you watching. As always, we certainly want to get somebody's new perspective, a different perspective on the real estate business, particularly lead generation, client retention, those kinds of things that Just the Tips Coaching focuses on, that How I Met Your Mortgage focuses on. So, Jennifer, without further ado, literally, take us back. What got you into real estate? How did you start? What, sparked that this was something you were going to do and pursue and eventually be successful at? Give us the background on you.
So I relocated to Colorado, actually Woodland Park, Colorado, back in 2001. I transferred here with a local landscape company. And honestly, I've lived in a small town my whole life and decided to try something different. So I transferred, and my husband at the time got a job in Denver, and I got a job in Denver. He got a job in Colorado Springs, and so I picked Woodland Park on a map and thought that was in between Denver and Colorado Springs.
That's funny. Okay.
And it turns out it wasn't exactly in between. So I ended up in another job and had to get a couple of part-time jobs to kind of make ends meet. And one of those jobs was a receptionist at Coldwell Banker in Woodland Park, is where I was introduced to real estate. So I had no real knowledge of real estate, never really paid attention to it when my parents had bought and sold homes. But started, setting up showings and that way, so I kind of fell into it. And honestly, I looked at the agents and thought, wow, if they can do it, maybe I can do it. So I quickly went to school, worked 3 part-time jobs while I went to school, got my real estate license, and was not really able to get into the market in Woodland Park. So I moved down to Colorado Springs, and the rest is history from there. It's been a dream job for me. I don't feel like I'm working, but feel very blessed that I walked into my career path that way, and it's just been awesome. So I've always had a sales, I would sell scented candles and also party light, and I always did very well, but always did those part time. So sales was always in my background, but I certainly did not know that I was going to be successful. And at that time, I actually went through a divorce and became a single mom of 2 beautiful little kids, and really didn't have a choice but to really try to give it my all, and I did. And I feel very fortunate that I went through a divorce at that time, because I think it really made me put the fundamentals into my work ethics and stuff like that made me successful today. So.
It was a good motivator for you.
Yes.
Good. And I'm assuming, and probably incorrectly, because that's what assuming is, that you started with that same Coldwell Banker office in Woodland Park where you had been doing admin work?
I did not. Actually, the interesting story there is I needed to take a day off to take my test. It was a Saturday, and one of the owners there wouldn't let me have the day off, so I actually quit my job there and started at a small firm down in Colorado Springs called Heritage, just because it was across the street of where I worked at the time for another media agency. So I could walk across the street and go to my brokerage and then go back to my job. So I kept the job for a few months, about 3 months, I think, before I finally went full-time into real estate.
Wow, you're right. That is an interesting story that I can't even get my head around this, that the broker owner didn't want to give you the day off in order to further your career in their office. Well, neither here nor there, I guess. All right. So back to, so when you first acquired your license, you're still relatively new to real estate. You're still relatively new to Colorado. Obviously, having some other personal, significant, tumultuous types of things going on, like divorce and being a single parent. How did you start generating business? What did your lead generation look like then?
So the first clients that I had were people that I worked with, and again, I still had 2 jobs at that point. So I had a lot of people that I worked with that I started, selling homes to. Back then, I sold a lot of new construction homes because they were, I think, like $105,000 in Springs Ranch for a brand new home. So I started selling those and a lot of investments to my boss at the time. And so I started doing very well. But I would ask people, I remember like standing in the grocery store line and I would hear people talk and I would just ask them. So I really was forced to talk about real estate everywhere I was at to try to generate a lead. I didn't have any lead source coming in other than people that I interacted with. So that's how I started in the business. And then I actually got hired by a local builder for a few years and did quite well there, and then was able to expand my database from there.
All right, let's back up a little bit. And one, I want you to know that Candace Gleason says, I love Jennifer. She's amazing to work with. I don't know your relationship to Candace, but there's a glowing comment right there. But I want our audience to kind of really get their heads around something that you said right there, particularly things like standing in line at the grocery store, and we use that particular exact reference all the time. And what you guys, particularly if you're new to the business, although it's really lifelong activity or at least career-long activity, is that you've got to have your eyes and ears open to conversations about real estate that you can interject yourselves into, that you've got to have your eyes and ears open to those potential leads all the time. That's really a big, big part of lead generation when you're in a direct-to-consumer sales type of gig, like being a real estate agent, a mortgage originator, insurance, financial planning, whatever, is that you've really got to be able to constantly, eyes open, eyes closed every day, constantly be in tune with the fact that leads are out there everywhere, literally places like standing in line at the grocery store. So, Jennifer, thank you for putting that out there. That's really a very important piece of the zero-cost marketing type of mentality.
Yes, it is. And Candace, speaking of Candace, she is an agent on my team that is pretty new. She just started and she sold one right away. And so that's what I do, try to teach people too, is, leads are expensive. If you want to buy Zillow leads and Realtor.com, you're not going to make it if you don't have a lot of money in cash flow. So we're all in contact with people, and I think right away, fake it till you make it, not necessarily ask questions if you really don't know, but you need to portray yourself as the real estate professional in everybody's life. So, you have to be willing to ask for the business as well. That's the other thing I learned, is I could talk about it all day long, but if I didn't ask somebody to work with me, they wouldn't choose to. But if I ask in those closing questions that we talk about, it's vital that, in the night, let's say, do you know anybody else looking to buy or sell? Those things that, those are the fundamentals that we start with, and sometimes even today I forget to do that. But it's very important, because if you do a good job and care about somebody and you ask them if they know, on average, I think they think it's 7 to 9 people, for one person, they know 7 to 9 people that are going to buy or sell a home in a year. So it's vital that you ask for, do you know anybody that's looking? So.
Well, and there's no question about that. Do you know anybody who wants to buy or sell? These kinds of semi-canned responses are crucial, and we teach those here at Just the Tips Coaching as well, to have those kinds of responses that elicit the kinds of answers that will help you generate leads. But I think the really important piece of what you just said there is you've got to ask for the business. Whatever the situation is, for all of you watching, you've got to ask for the business. Okay? Keep that on the back burner. all the time. You've got to ask for the business. Hopefully I'm driving that point home enough here, because it is certainly a crucial one. So thank you for bringing that up as well. And while we're on the subject, because we certainly want to discuss it, tell us about what your team looks like and where Candace fits in and who else is involved. And maybe we could even get you to bridge a little gap between the onset of your business and where you're at now and how that team got built.
Mm-hmm. So, right behind me, this is Kathy. She's been with me the longest. How long have you been with me? Almost 4 years. And then I have Chanel, who's been with me about 2 years, and then Candace, who just came aboard a few months ago. And I just have a small team. I don't have any visions of growing into a large team or taking over anything. We strive on personal relationships. We don't have boards with goals up on there that we require that anybody meets. We want everybody to have really good work-life balance, which is something that I wish maybe I would have figured out a little bit sooner, having 2 small children. But so I started in resale, got into new construction, and then when I left new construction, I started on a team at Heritage with Harry and Lynn Wolf, who are not in the business right now, but it was interesting. He called me about 2 weeks ago. Pretty emotional moment for me, because he taught me everything I know, and his wife was very strict with me with contracts, and I'm very strict with my people with contracts now, even though I didn't quite understand it there. So from there, I stayed at Heritage again, left my job and stuff, stayed there. Paul Goldenbogen was the broker there, really loved him, went through all my firsts with him, and then I realized that I was ready for more technology. So Keller Williams at the time was where I wanted to go, and that's when I joined onto Keller Williams and had a few teams there with Derek Wagner, Mariana Wagner, Jeff Ryder, and just then decided, wow, when you start looking at your production and you're selling, let's say, 50 homes, but you're paying out 25, or you're paying out 50% of that because you're on a team, and they deserve to have that for leadership. But I got to the point where it didn't make sense anymore, that I sell more, work harder to make less. So that's when I decided to start Springs Home Finders. And that's my team that I started, and I stayed by myself for a long time, and really until I took on Kathy, have I even thought about a team. Keller Williams is very team motivated, and a lot of agents in here are that way, and it's awesome. It's just not, in a large team, is not something that I am really wanting to do with my team. And then I had an opportunity to bring on Chanel, who is really fun. She's younger, she's more tech savvy. She brings in a lot. She does very well with our luxury clients, and that was amazing. So had the opportunity to bring her on, and then a builder that I listed his home introduced me to Candace. She was just getting into the business, and really, truly just fit. We just interview, and if they fit kind of along the spiritual path, and we all have the same goals, we kind of just, that's how my team works. It's not numbers driven, or we don't look to hire until we're giving out too much business, and that's when we would need somebody else. And we're just not, we're all just sustaining, we're all happy, we're paying our bills, everybody is. It's really exciting to see other people's growth, and watch that. I would have never trained them without a team, or be a leader of any sort, and it still makes me uncomfortable. I would say we're partners, we're teammates. I just happen to have a little bit more knowledge of contracts and stuff, and be able to get through situations a little bit better just because of experience. I really feel that as ladies, it just happens to be all ladies. We're not against guys. So we have just us four, and it's a really awesome feeling, because we're just all kind of on the same path, if that makes sense.
And are all 4 of you licensed agents, or is somebody acting in a support staff role?
No, we're all 4 licensed agents. I had assistants my entire career until about a year ago. And then we just had, it was just hard for me to manage them and train them. And so we have gone to, again, more of a partnership where we've all picked up some of the pieces, and we have a licensed transaction coordinator, Bonnie Martin, who I love dearly. And I cannot believe that. I was like, well, what does this mean? I'm going to, fall apart. And we have Stephanie Browning, who does our event coordination and stuff. So we've adapted to this newer, like, I don't have to have an assistant sitting here. I can have a TC that lives further away, and I, can have an event coordinator. We can hire people as we need them for certain things. So that's where we're at today, which is totally different where I was at a year ago and all my other years prior to that. I've always had support staff of. It's really just us. And honestly, I think our client experience, from, not that it's wrong that other people do it that way, but I think because we're the ones calling to get signatures, calling or emailing to do amends, we're in contact more. I feel like that's key today, because I feel like with all of texting and meeting people at properties and not driving them in your car anymore, there's so many misconnections that I really feel like it's taken our business to the next level.
And tell us what. Okay, so one, let's back up a little bit, because now that we know that you guys are Keller, and we have nothing but good things to say about how Keller agents are given training opportunities, education, and particularly on what I think is the most important subject in a real estate agent's career, lead generation. So I assume that a lot of you have done bold and those kinds of things. What does your team's lead generation look like today?
So for us, our lead generation is we do participate in a little bit of internet leads still. That's what I was based on, where we pay for some AdWords and go from there. It's not like it used to be. And then everything else is just fear. So that's what we still go back to, how the fundamental of where I started, right? Ask for the business, use your sphere, use your past clients, have client events, ask for the business. So that's where I'm 100% referral at this point and have been for several years. And the girls, that's where I'm trying to get the girls to be as well. So they're, about 50-50. They're at that point, which is also, are they going to leave again once they get to the point where I got? But really, it's about the personal relationship and reaching out to the people that we already have in our sphere and trying to keep those, those connections with people.
Sure.
Rather than, we do open houses, of course.
Great lead gen activity.
We're knocking all of that. We'll do anything. Anything that works. Whenever we have time, we're gonna try it. Chanel is very, very good at open houses. Kathy is very good at rentals, converting some of the renters into buyers, or even people that she helped 3 years ago because nobody else would buy from her today. So everybody has their niche that they kind of focus on, and that's kind of what we just do what we're natural at and what makes sense. And we also try to push ourselves. Obviously, doing a video live is pushing me, but we try to push ourselves to do things outside of our comfort zone to see if it'll work. So.
Good. And don't get me wrong, we never take issue with how somebody wants to do their lead gen. Open houses, great activity if you want to add people to your contact database, if you want to build your audience, if you want to get familiar with a particular neighborhood. If you're somebody who's going to farm a neighborhood, doing open houses in that neighborhood is great lead gen activity. We only would be critical of somebody who doesn't do their lead gen activities, not how they want to do it. But yes, being constant and consistent is certainly a big part of it. Internet leads are tough, certainly no question about that, but there are ways to make that activity work. And again, we're adding to our contact database, we're building our audience, there are far greater long-term activities that go on in the internet lead world than, simply trying to get a hold of somebody for 2 or 3 weeks, 100 combined voicemails, text, emails with no response, and them never reaching back out to buy or sell a home. The foundation that you're building by doing that kind of activity is going to pay dividends for those of you watching. So if you want to do internet lead activity, do it smart. Make sure you're getting a return on that investment. But it's certainly not something that should never be done. Let's put it that way. And that's true of open houses and door knocking and 1,000 other activities that you guys can be doing that either have an ROI if you're going to spend some money, or don't require any money at all, like an open house or at least negligible. Door knocking, those kinds of activities. So Jennifer makes some really solid points in there about what lead gen activities should look like, what her team is doing in order to continue to improve, to reach another level, to suck less today than they did yesterday, which is basically the goal for all of us. Just got to be a little bit better tomorrow than we are today. So, Jennifer, what do you see for your team going forward? What do you think lead gen activity looks like? What do you think the iBuyer impact is going to be? What do the next 5 years look like for you guys?
Honestly, I had another magazine ask me the same question, and truthfully, I think we're going to continue just doing what we're doing. I'm not really worried about I mean, it's going to affect us. That kind of stuff affects us. But I've been through several different markets, so I'm just going to continue to really strive on personal contacts, and also, making sure that we have that personal touch with the client so that we can get the referrals. Because once we have the client, it's so much easier to have a warm referral than to try to focus on anything else. The market, I think, is going to be fine still for a little while, and then we'll have a market adjustment like we always do. And my best years have been when the market shifts. So, Keller Williams is very good on training on that kind of stuff and ahead of the game to kind of let us know. That's why I do love our company. So I don't have financial fear or any fear of what the future holds. I just think, we just need to fine tune what we're doing. Continue what we're doing and keep doing it well. And as that happens, business just continues to come, our way. I truly believe you do good, it comes back to us. So
I would say that that's all true. Is there any concern among the women on your team about what the iBuyer activity is?
I haven't heard, they haven't talked to me about it. When we get together, we just have a good time. We don't ever talk about fears. Maybe it's probably on the team meeting and see, but I would say that they don't have any fears around it either. It's been, obviously we've had a few different scenarios come up just recently, where we've had buyers sending us properties that are listed by Zillow and not in the MLS yet. And thankfully they're starting to put them in the MLS, but we're able to, if you have that personal relationship with your client and you explain all these things that are out there and you sell your value over the rest of it, you're still good. They still stay with you. I still believe that real estate is a personal relationship business. I don't think that we need to worry about, and again, all these business models work, just not for me. Redfin, you have different agents throughout the process. You have somebody that shows you contracts, closing. We're never in contact with the same person. And that's great. That works for that transaction. But do they refer? Who do they refer? Do they have a personal relationship? Do you know what their kids, sports are like? Some of my best, closest friends that are now my family are clients that, I travel now and go see them, and, it's heartbreaking when they move, and, I get to see kids that started, in flag football that are now playing in college. Like, that's the thing about this business that I love so much. It's personal. It is personal if you make it that way. And I think those other, iBuyer and stuff, it's just going to be transactional. And will they take transactions? Absolutely. Will they take them from us? Hopefully not. If we're doing what we need to do.
I'd say that there's a lot of truth to that. And unfortunately, there's so many nuances to buying or selling a home that a computer can't do it. It's just an automated system like that, even with what Redfin has going on, it just can't be done correctly, completely on every transaction. And that's certainly true in the mortgage process, and I can see from our viewership that there are a number of mortgage originators I know watching as well. Same kind of thing. I'm not concerned for them about the Rocket or the Zillow mortgage or any of those kinds of things, because I do think that there is a prerequisite, a requirement for there to be human interaction in order for it to be in the consumer's best interest, best financial interest, those kinds of things. So that certainly is a big deal. And yeah, bottom line is that it is a relationship business. I don't get warm fuzzies from Zillow. I don't get warm fuzzies from, any of the iBuyers. And cost aside, on the sell side, for those of you, selling a home, and we do have some consumer viewership, the costs are significantly higher with an iBuyer than going the traditional route. And you're missing out on the opportunity to have a relationship with Jennifer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot to that. Okay, and Jennifer, knowing what we know about you, I'm always amazed at how quickly these episodes whip by, that you have a team, that you're in the Springs, Colorado, for those of you that aren't familiar with the area, and that you're obviously still representing buyers and sellers yourself. Give us all the highlights about how to reach you. What's the best way? Website, phone, fax, email, carrier pigeon. I can't believe I said fax. Don't fax. It's 2020, people. Don't fax. We do. We can receive faxes. So yes, understood. But yeah, give us all the highlights on how our viewership can reach out to you.
So whatever works for them is what I say, because every age class is different. My cell phone number, most importantly, 719-291-3168. So call, text. SpringsHomeFinders.com is the website. Still, you can use that. And Jennifer at Springs Home Finders, Matthew at Springs Home Finders, Chanel at Springs Home Finders, and Candace at Springs Home Finders. Those are all of our emails. You can stop by our office. You can Google and get a map direction to our office. So any way that works, we're happy. I want your business. If somebody hasn't told you that, I would love your business. I would love your referrals. We love what we do, and I would be honored to work with anybody. So.
Perfect. And again, ask for the business. Okay. Yeah. Great example, guys, what Jennifer just gave us there. So yeah, really do take advantage. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us. I can't express enough. I know that video is not exactly your comfort zone, but we certainly wanted to bring you on and get a fresh take on some of these topics and ideas. So thank you for not only making the time sacrifice, but for stepping out of your box a little bit to do this with us.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for the opportunity. I truly appreciate it.
Sure. And Jen, anything that we should be adding that I'm not thinking of?
I don't think so. Jennifer, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you. Happy birthday.
You too.
You both have birthdays coming up next week. That's cute. Okay, so for those of you watching, thank you for joining us either live or in syndication. Again, if you would like more information about just the tips, or if you would like to be a guest on the show, if you'd like to see our weekly quick tip or past episodes of How I Met Your Mortgage, use our text code at the bottom of the screen there. Oh, you can get a copy of my book, Just the Tips, that way as well. But text TIPS to 63566 and it will ping you back all of that information. Jen, I'll certainly see you shortly. And again, Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us this week. You have been a spectacular guest, and we're really glad to have had you on the show.
Oh, thank you. You guys have a good day.
Thanks. And don't go anywhere. I'm going to run our extra, and we'll be right back. Thank you guys for watching.